Friday, July 20th, 2012, on a dark night in Aurora, Colorado, anticipation filled the air at the Century 16 Theater. Moviegoers gathered for the premiere of The Dark Knight Rises, eager to escape into the world of superheroes and villains. But little did they know that a villain was already present between them. Almost 400 people booked their tickets and rushed towards Theater Number 9 to watch the long-awaited film. Among the audience was a man who wore a dark t-shirt and black cargo trousers. He blended in with people who were wearing costumes of characters in the film. During the preview of the film, the guy stood up and made a call. On the call, he told someone to hold on as he exited the theater through the emergency exit. The audience were indulged in the film preview and didn't notice the man leave the theater. The man, while leaving, jammed a piece of plastic in the door to keep it open. He then reached his parked car, which was just a few feet away. On the back seat was tactical gear, which he started putting on. The tactical gear consisted of a bulletproof vest, arm protection, and neck and groin Kevlar protection. A gas mask, goggles, and headphones covered his face. He quickly gathered an assault rifle, a Remington 12-gauge shotgun, two .40 caliber Glock handguns, and 6,000 rounds of ammunition. At 12:30 a.m., he went back into the theater through the door he left open. Dressed head to toe in armor, he calmly walked in and stood silently facing the audience, backlit by the huge silver screen behind him. The headphones he was wearing jammed with loud techno music, enhancing the bloodlust he was about to unleash. He menacingly stood there to unveil the Dark Knight, but his version of the caped crusader was not a hero. In the quiet streets of San Diego, California, on a chilly December day in 1987, a new chapter began. James Holmes came into the world, seemingly destined for an ordinary life. Childhood laughter echoed throughout the suburbs, painting a picture of innocence that would soon be disrupted. As young James grew, so did his intellectual brilliance. With an insatiable curiosity for the world around him, he effortlessly conquered the academic realm. Report cards adorned with straight A's hinted at a promising future. His classmates at the elementary school always spoke highly of him.
He excelled in academics. He was top of the class. And even back then, he was the head of every student academically, and his intelligence, you could tell, it was ahead of every student.
Transitioning to adolescence, James faced the inevitable challenges of fitting in. Despite his academic prowess, social connections proved elusive. The hallways echoed with the footsteps of a young man going through the complexities of teenage isolation. He was an introvert, but in his younger years, he suffered from schizophrenia.
So when he was diagnosed later with schizophrenia or some of the other diagnoses along the schizophrenia spectrum, we learned that this gradual decline in interaction and in talking.
His mental illness persisted, as his mother said that his condition didn't go away. Leaving the familiarity of home, James went to the University of California, Riverside. Here, the shadows began to lengthen. Academic success coexisted with a growing sense of isolation, casting a pall over his once promising future. Determined to unlock the mysteries of the mind, James pursued a PhD in neuroscience at the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus. The pursuit of knowledge intensified, but so did the internal struggles. The lines between brilliance and burden blurred. In the fading light of academic success, James underwent a transformation, both physical and psychological. Even his psychologist was concerned about his behavior.
By early June, Fenton actually notified other members of the team about her concerns about Holmes's behavior. But on June 10th, 3 days after Holmes bought an assault weapon...
As his isolation grew, James colored his hair orange and made a profile on Match.com. The profile presented James as an ordinary guy who wants to hook up and have a fun time. Later, James failed his oral exams at his university. The pressure on his mental state exceeded, which made him file paperwork to withdraw from the neuroscience program on June 10, 2012. That too, without giving a reason. He also met his psychiatrist for the very last time the next day. Something in his head was not right. The voices were increasing every day. They compelled him to buy weaponry of different sorts, handguns, shotguns, and an MP-15 and smoke grenades. He also purchased tactical gear, which consisted of a ballistic helmet, a gas mask, and a load-bearing vest. James also started to rig his apartment with elaborate explosive devices, booby traps like tripwires, homemade napalm, and other improvised explosive devices were set on the premises of his apartment. During this time, James started to wander around the Century 16 Theater. He took multiple pictures of the theater as if he was planning on something. James purchased an online ticket of The Dark Knight, which was to premiere at midnight on June 20th, 2012. James entered the Century 16 Theater with a sick and twisted mind. He went into the screening just to leave and come back dressed up in his tactical gear, carrying weapons that he purchased earlier. Standing in front of the audience, he looked at them menacingly. After that, he deployed tear gas canisters and smoke grenades. The audience thought it was some sort of gig to match the film's theme, but unfortunately, they were wrong as the smoke blasted. Once the tear gas spread through the entire theater, James opened fire straight into the crowd. The audience, initially startled by the gas, were faced with a sudden and terrifying reality of an active shooter. The darkened theater and loud sounds from the movie amplified the confusion, making it difficult for people to understand the severity of the situation initially. Bullets carved into the audience as James shot round after round of ammunition. Moviegoers, many dressed in costumes for the midnight premiere, scrambled to find cover or escape, leading to scenes of mass hysteria and fear. Within minutes of the first 911 calls, law enforcement officers arrived at the scene. James, after doing his dirty deed, ran towards the parking lot where he was apprehended by police officers. The officer that arrested James has this to say about him.
Calm, cooperative, or what would be the proper term?
I would say he surrendered. Yeah, I would say he surrendered. He gave up.
Without putting in any effort, James just gave in, knowing he can't run away from what he had just done. He even told the officer that he is the Joker. 12 people were killed and 58 others were injured during the shooting. The victims included men, women, and children, ranging from 6 to 51 years of age. The further police investigation found the booby traps in James' apartment and successfully detonated them without causing any harm. After the shooting at the Aurora Theater, legal proceedings took center stage. James Holmes faced multiple charges, including first-degree murder and attempted murder. The courtroom became the arena for a deeply emotional and complex trial. The defense argued for an insanity plea, presenting evidence of James Holmes' history of mental health issues. The prosecution countered, emphasizing the meticulous planning and execution of the attack, asserting that Holmes should be held criminally responsible for his actions. The planning was found in the spiral notebook of James. The notebook showed how James had homicidal tendencies and planned the shooting incident thoroughly.
He writes, murderer value equal to dead. Equal may equal priceless. On another page he notes, why should life exist? What is the purpose of living?
As the trial progressed, victims' families were given the opportunity to share their impact statements. The courtroom witnessed heartbreaking testimonials of loss, grief, and the enduring pain caused by the Aurora Theater shooting. Holmes' lack of visible emotion during court proceedings and the absence of a clear motive for the attack left many questions unanswered. His interactions with the legal system were often marked by a seemingly detached demeanor, leading to speculation about his mental state. In July 2015, the jury rendered its verdict. James Holmes was found guilty on all counts, including first-degree murder and attempted murder. However, the jury decided against imposing the death penalty, and Holmes was sentenced to 12 consecutive life sentences, a total of 3,318 years in prison, the fourth longest life sentence handed down in U.S. history. After the criminal trial, civil lawsuits emerged against the theater, alleging inadequate security measures. The Aurora community continued to grapple with the aftermath, holding memorial events and gatherings to remember the victims and support one another in the healing process. The Aurora Theater shooting left a lasting impact on the national conversation. It sparked discussions about mental health awareness, the need for improved gun control measures, and the safety of public spaces. The incident prompted reflections on societal responsibility and the importance of recognizing warning signs. The insanity of James Holmes shows how much easier it is to ruin one's life than to save it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.